Clone Wars will forever be the greatest Star Wars series in the history of Lucasfilm production. It was created by George Lucas and was part of the Star Wars multimedia franchise. Airing on Cartoon Network in 2008, it was among the few Star Wars shows that were produced before Disney bought the rights from Lucasfilm. With 7 complete seasons, I'll have to say that it is still the top-notch Star Wars series to date. And today we shall have the honor and glory of remembering some of the characters who majored in the show, from the Siths to the Jedi Masters, and even to minor characters like the Assassins and the Apprentice leaders. Then we shall see the legendary and the most iconic people who voiced the said characters, who they are, where they are, and how old they are today in 2025. And to begin with the great Anakin Skywalker, who was a Jedi general of the Grand Army of the Republic during the Clone Wars. He was strong with the Force and was also an expert pilot and a mechanic who could fly the jets and fix them as well. He was given Ahsoka Tano as his apprentice, and he was seen training her to become a Jedi herself. He also worked with the clone leader known as Captain Rex during missions, and was married to a senator called Padmé Amidala. He was known to be a passionate and a confident man, and was also a natural-born leader to the Great Republic. He shared a strong bond with Ahsoka, and was always seen saving her in most of the missions. The only problem he had was his anger issues, which was one of the ingredients that made him fall into the dark side and pledge himself to Darth Sidious, becoming one of the greatest Sith Lords known as Darth Vader. He was voiced by Matt Lanter, who is an American actor and a model. He has been modeling ever since he was in his 20s, and is now a full film and television actor, and he has also been married to his wife Angela Stacy since 2013. And now to Anakin's apprentice known as Ahsoka Tano, who was a female Togruta, and was in her teen years when we first saw her. She was always with Anakin, learning about the war and studying the Force alongside her master. She became a commander in the Grand Army of the Republic, and was always seen in the first lines of battle. She was one of the bravest characters in the show, and was also greatly skilled in battle with the help of her lightsaber. She was also good in repairing broken ships, and was also a good pilot and a starfighter. And since she was always in battles, she was good in hand-to-hand combat. Example like how she almost defeated Asajj Ventress and General Grievous single-handedly. One of the greatest female Jedi student voiced by Ashley Eckstein, who is an American actress and now a fashion designer, and she even has her own fashion label called the Her Universe. Embo was a Cuso male bounty hunter who also existed during the Clone Wars. He always carried a bowcaster and wore his iconic circular hat, which he used as a weapon and also a shield. And as much as he loved working alone, he was sometimes seen working with other bounty hunters when the jobs were too much or too risky. We first saw his assignment to capture J.S. Ameri, which he did, and afterwards he was mostly seen working for the New Republic as one of its greatest bounty hunter. And after his contract ended, he went to live as a farmer on planet Felucia. Voiced by Dave Filoni, a director and producer mostly to the Star Wars films, and is now the current chief creative officer of Lucasfilm. Obi-Wan Kenobi was a Jedi and High General for the Grand Army of the Republic, and was the initial master of Anakin. He was a skilled fighter who went on almost all the wars, and was also skilled in diplomacy, which was a key factor with solutions that ended battles without fighting. He fought on many planets and won most of the fights, and was considered to be one of the greatest duelists of the Jedi Order. He was also very calm and composed even at the worst days, and that was why he never fell into darkness like Anakin and his master Count Dooku. This Jedi had the privilege to be voiced by James Arnold Taylor, a voice actor who we discussed in a previous video where he voiced Johnny in Johnny Test. As we stated before, Anakin was secretly married to Amidala, who was a senator of the planet of Naboo. She always helped with critical affairs that helped in delaying and stopping some wars from happening. And the reason as to why her marriage to Anakin was a secret was because Jedi Masters were not permitted to have wives or children. She was a courageous political woman and a hopeful senator who always did her best to fight the darkness and corruption that was taking over the galaxy. Voiced by Catherine Tabor, a voice actress who can also be heard in the Loud House voicing iconic characters like Lori Loud and Catherine Mulligan. Now to Rex, who was a designated veteran and a clone captain and commander who commanded the Grand Army of the Republic during the Cold Clone Wars. He was also an advanced recon commando who served hand-in-hand with Anakin and Ahsoka during most battles. He was just a soldier, but was among the bravest people in the series and was always seen caring for the men under his command. And sometimes he was known to be a no-nonsense man when wars were looming. One of the greatest clones voiced by the famous D. Bradley Baker, an American voice actor whose reputation precedes him, and is mostly known to voice animals and monsters in most animations and cartoons. General Grievous was once a male Kaleesh warlord who served within the military forces of the Confederacy of Independent Systems as a commanding officer during the Clone Wars. He was the one who commanded the droid army throughout the war, and was a worthy combatant who was greatly feared throughout the galaxy. He invaded countless planets and took out some of the Jedi Knights alone, and was even recognized by the Jedi as their mortal enemy. He was under the command of Palpatine and Count Dooku, and was a warrior voiced by Matthew Wood, who is an American sound editor and voice actor that has been in Lucasfilm for decades. Count Dooku was also known as Darth Tyrannus, and was a powerful Sith Lord and the head of Confederacy of Independent Systems. When he was still a Jedi, Dooku was good in combat and skilled in using the Force and lightsaber. But after a long time in the Jedi Order, he started to doubt their ways and teachings, and inevitably fell under the influence of Darth Sidious. He was a treacherous and a powerful person, who became a manipulative and a cruel man after falling into the dark side. Even though he was an antagonist, he was intelligent and a wise man in battle, and would sometimes feel remorse and guilt for betraying his friends. He was voiced by Corey Burton, a voice actor who is now the voice of Captain Hook and Ludwig von Drake in the Walt Disney Company. Mace Windu was one of the strongest Jedi Masters during the Clone Wars. He held the second chair position of the Jedi High Council, and was known to be second in Force ability only after Master Yoda. He was actually the initial Master of the Order, but later passed it on to Yoda after the First Battle of Geonosis. He created his own lightsaber form which focused on dark emotions, and it brought him dangerously close to the dark side. He was the only Jedi who never turned to the dark side after mastering this form. Voiced by Terrence Carson, who is an American actor and a voice actor, and is always known to be the first actor to portray Kratos in the God of War video game series. C-3PO was a protocol droid who was used by Senator Amidala during the war. He was her personal assistant and always traveled with her in every business journey she made. This droid was always at the wrong place at the wrong time, and was sometimes caught in the line of fire. He was a good friend to another droid called R2-D2, and his existence was dedicated to working for Amidala as a communicator and assistant. It was Anthony Daniels who voiced the droid, and has actually voiced C-3PO in 11 Star Wars films. And other characters who were just as important include Mas Amedda, a Chagrian male politician who served as the Grand Vizier in the Galactic Empire, and was the one who paved way for Sheev Palpatine to become the Emperor. Darth Maul was a crime lord who was so sensitive with the Force. He was another apprentice of Darth Sidious, and was a skilled combatant in using the lightsaber. And even after losing his place as the Dark Lord of the Sith, he still schemed and plotted his way across the galaxy to gain more power. Sheev Palpatine was the infamous Darth Sidious and the former Emperor of the Galactic Empire. Even with the Rule of Two, which stated that a master can only have one apprentice, Palpatine broke this law because he had Darth Tyrannus, Darth Vader, and Darth Maul all at once. Even after death, he used the dark side of the Force to escape death, and seeked further immortality through darkness. And now to Asajj Ventress, who was a Dathomirian Night Sister that lived through the Galactic Republic, and became an accomplished warrior in the Clone Wars. She initially worked for Count Dooku and the Separatists, but after they left her to die in the wilderness, she swore to destroy all the Darths with the help of her Night Sisters. Qui-Gon Jinn was another Force-sensitive Jedi Master who lived in the last years of the Republic era. He was a wise and a well-respected member of the Council, but would later leave and follow his own path around the living Force. He was the one who brought Anakin to the Jedi Order, and his dying wish was for Anakin to become a Jedi Master. Jabba the Hutt was a gangster and a crime lord who was an influential leader of the Hutt clan. If you wanted illegal goods to be transported from one place to another, Jabba was your guy. He operated piracy and slavery businesses, and was one of the most feared crime lords in Tatooine.